CNF Worldwide for nomads everywhere.
Morning, everybody. It's early Monday morning, the day after St. Patrick's Day. I got three hardworking guys here who found their way out of bed to the office. So we're here with Eric and Josh. And Eric, I'm going to get you to pronounce your last name for me because I don't want to screw it up.
Ghiloni.
Ghiloni, I would have screwed it up. Eric and his wife Mary founded Koi Pond Brewing here in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And then I understand you brought your friends Matt and Debbie.
Matt and Deborah,
as your partners.
Yep.
So, and Josh here's your bar manager, marketing guy.
Manager, sales and distribution.
And our newest partner.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You guys are in a really interesting place here. And I'm a frequent flyer up and down I-95, just a few minutes away from where you guys are out here in Rocky Mount. And I stumbled upon this development here, Rocky Mount Mills, which I think is, a lot of places have rehabbed old buildings, mills, warehouses, and that kind of stuff for offices and condos and that kind of thing. But you're the first one I've found anywhere I've traveled in the United States that have also incorporated, 6, 7, 8 craft breweries into the
4 or 5 breweries.
Five of us.
Five of us, yeah.
So can you give us a little background on first how you guys decided to start Koi Pond and then how you came to be part of this complex here?
Yeah, sure. I was a home brewer, and we were kind of looking into going from home brewing into professional brewing. And it just coincided with Capital Broadcasting buying the mill and wanting to do something kind of centered around craft beer. So it was one of those kind of serendipitous things. And so in January of 2016, we opened up here on the corner of Falls and Elm. We were the first Rocky Mountain Nash County brewery and kind of the anchor for the Rocky Mountain Mills.
So did they approach you? Did they hear about you, or did you find out what they were doing and you decided to do a party?
I found out what they were doing, contacted them, and it kind of just grew from there. A little back and forth here, try some of my beer. It happened kind of very quickly.
So I read some of your backstory, and you got into this because a friend asked you to brew them some beer?
Well, a friend of mine, I'd always wanted to brew, and he said, now's the time. And I was like, man, I don't want to spend money on equipment, blah, blah, blah. And he said, look, buy a brew kit. If you don't like it, I'll buy it back from you. Obviously,
never look back.
Obviously, he never.
He's still waiting for that call, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it was that simple. Because I've had a lot of places we interviewed, and it's this long, elaborate story, and it's just like, eh. So how fast was it obvious that you were good at this?
I brewed my first batch, and it wasn't horrible, and I really enjoyed it, and just took off from there. I was brewing a couple of times a week, and just kept growing and adding more equipment, and it just became something I loved.
Awesome. So before you guys opened Koi Pond, and I was talking to Josh about this a little bit before you got here, what kind of craft brew scene was there here in town before this started?
There was
zero.
Yeah. So you mentioned you tended bar, and so you were kind of familiar with what was going on. What attracted you to come join the party over here?
Well, we did the opening party in 2014, I think.
I think so.
Kind of saying, hey, we're going to do this. And they asked me to help out. And of course, I tasted the beer. And having somewhat of a fine palate for beer and a fine belly for it.
the evidence is conclusive.
Yeah, I even talked to Eric that night about it. I was like, hey, man, I want in. And one thing led to another. And, I got fired from my last job. And first stop was my mom's house to let her know. Second call was to Matt and Deborah, said, hey, guess what? And Deborah said, you want to work for us? Never looked back.
So from the time that you decided you were going to do this and you made contact with the developer here, take us through a little bit of what the next year was like for you guys, going from, yeah, we're going to do this to here it is.
It was, they obviously had to do a rehab on the property. And, here I am going from back porch brewer to, okay, I've got a year to become a real brewer. And so we just made a lot of beer and had a lot of people taste a lot of beer and got tasting notes and just kind of decided what was working and what wasn't working. And it was fun to watch this place. It needed a lot of love.
Did. Well, you started out in that building. It's 15 by 5 or something?
Yeah, and
like
we
that?
had a little
Ridiculous.
interim brewing space that was about 300 square feet, where we just kind of brewed almost every day just to try to get better and develop recipes. So it was kind of a combination of watching this come together and just hone our brewing skills and our recipes.
So I assume you're brewing the test batches on a relatively small system.
Yeah.
How was it trying to scale those up from that to?
We're a 2-barrel brew house, which is relatively small, and it scaled all pretty linearly. I mean, everything was pretty much kind of just double this, double that, Not until you get into the bigger systems do you have to worry about utilization curves and all that stuff. So not really a big deal. We had to do a little tweaking here and there as we went along, but it was a pretty comfortable process.
Now, as far, you guys have a gorgeous tap room here.
Thank you.
And Josh tells me this building dates to 1835.
1835.
So what was the process? Like you said, needed some love. What kind of condition was it in when you first found it?
Man, this whole complex looked like a broken down juvenile detention facility until
And you're familiar with those.
until Capital bought it up and started renovating everything.
Yeah, it wasn't usable or livable. It was.
Need a lot of TLC.
It looks pretty close to being condemned. I think that's fair.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would say it's looking a lot better right now.
Yeah, it is. A lot better.
It does.
So jumping back to your beers, any particular styles you guys like the best? What are your flagship beers?
These guys do Belgians very well. I mean, we always get compliments on that. And our flagships range from a destination stout, chocolate almond stout, to chocolate coconut almond stout, to Long Street Pale Ale. And even now we've got Falls Road Golden Kolsch, which is our top seller.
I've always been real deferential towards the Belgian beers, and that's kind of where I started. So we've got a long line of those. We've got IPAs. I mean, we've got a little bit of everything style-wise, but Belgians are kind of my favorite style.
They nail those every time.
Awesome. So you guys primarily a destination brewery. You doing distribution? I heard you talking earlier.
Sure. Yeah, we distribute from Winston-Salem to the coast.
Really?
Yep, we got about 35 or 40 accounts.
Very, very nice. That's pretty impressive for a few years and this size. Plans beyond that, going global, or just want to keep it in the neighborhood?
We've got some plans we're working through. We'll
don't divulge anything you can't.
Yeah.
don't want to share.
That'll be the next podcast.
when we roll back through here.
Yeah.
Now, as far as being in this complex and having other brewers here, what's it been like being in here and having other people doing the same thing you're doing?
It's awesome. It's great. We've done collaborations with Rocky Mount Brewing Company, which in itself is a collaboration between Harlem Brewing Company and Spaceway Brewing Company. We've done collaborations with Hop Fly. We've done collaboration with Tipsy Tomato a couple times, which is a restaurant, great pizza over there. It's a real spirit of cooperation, even though we're in competition with each other, and so it's co-opetition. I'm sure you've heard that before. And we take everything and meld everything together, and that's the only way we can really make this campus succeed.
Gotcha. And I'm finding, and I was talking to Josh earlier, I mean, we've done, since January 1 this year, we've done interviews from Key West all the way to Bangor, Maine.
Oh, wow.
And everywhere we go, we're finding that this is a very collegial community, to steal your word. Everybody, it's not the competition I see in other industries, like, oh, that guy down the street, he's horrible. Like I have friends in Columbus, they say, we say, hey, come try our brewery, then hey, go down the street and try that guy's brewery. And,
absolutely.
The other thing, talking about collaborations, we also find that the local breweries seem to do collaborations with non-breweries. I mean, we got people brewing beers with donuts in it and coffee and all this other kind of stuff. Same kind of thing here?
Yep.
Absolutely.
We use local brewed coffee. We've got a wood fire pizza place out back that we've done collaborations with. So, I mean, it's just about the spirit of working together to make something interesting and something local.
Well, this is kind of the mission of CNF. I told Josh, we're trying to support the small economy. The world's going global, and everybody's buying stuff online, this, that, and the other thing, and Main Street has suffered. And we're kind of trying to push the tide in the other direction.
There you go.
Going, there's a lot of cool, interesting people in your neighborhood doing cool, interesting things, brewing good beers, brewing good coffees, making great pizza. Why not kind of blow off the chains and try out and see what your neighbors are doing?
It's always a challenge. We still get people 3 years after being open, even here in Rocky Mount, come in and say, oh, how long have you guys been open? 3 years. And it's they're just right down the street.
So how has the reception been in the community? It looks like a pretty quiet residential area here, and then here was this, I guess, basically derelict, declining old cotton mill thing here, and all of a sudden people are coming in here and things are being built. How the neighbors adapted to what's happening
Well,
here?
that's the beauty, is the immediate neighborhood is all part of the same complex. They're old mill houses that have been rehabbed and they're being rented out. So they all know because they're part of the same campus.
Yeah, so they kind of embrace the fact you're
Absolutely.
giving the old mill new life and new
house,
energy.
Each renovated house comes with a kegerator to be filled at.
Say that again?
Yes, absolutely. Each house comes with a kegerator.
Are there houses available? I got listeners that want to know.
Waiting list.
They got a heck of a waiting list.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, get the Rocky Mount ASAP before it's too late. I was going to ask you next. So we've talked about the brewery, talked about the beers. Let's talk about like what kind of events you guys have. What sort of things do you do to bring people in to experience your beers, live music, things like that?
Our two biggest events are our spring and fall festivals, Pondapalooza and Coachella, respectively. And we get anywhere between 800 and 1,500 people come out to those, depending on the weather.
Wow.
And we have music all day for those. We have food trucks. We have kids' activities. It's awesome. On a smaller scale, twice a month at least, we've got some kind of trivia, music bingo, or something like that. Weekly, we've got open mic night, and we try to do a special every night of the week that we're open.
And so you mentioned kids, so family-friendly location?
Absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely.
So you and I were talking earlier. We travel over to the UK and Ireland every year. We do pubs. We got interviews coming up over there in June, and the culture there historically has been the pub is the central place in a village,
Right.
Where the family comes and grandma and grandpa and mom and dad and the kids and the dog. And I've got a son-in-law who's from England. He's like, if you can't bring your dog into a pub, you're going to go out of business. That's kind of how it works over there. It seems like with the local craft brew scene, the breweries are almost becoming like community centers where people gather to hang out with their neighbors, and you can bring the kids and you can play games and
Absolutely.
you can bring the dog.
We have people bring food all the time and set it up and do a little picnic, whether it's inside in the room if it's bad weather, or outside in the summer when it's nice. Set up lawn chairs with kids running around, dogs on leashes just chilling out. It's awesome.
So you guys do events also like with food trucks and things like that locally? Is that a big thing here?
The food trucks every once in a
Occasionally,
while.
we've got local restaurants here on the
premises.
development, so we don't want to compete with them too much, but we do have those occasionally, and with our annual events.
Yeah. So now here in the brewery, you guys have got a varieties of areas here. You've got the tap room right there where the bar is. You've got this lovely room here with the old fireplace here, and then you've got a whole separate game room we can't see on camera
Right.
here, where there's also it looks like a very cozy old den from an old colonial house.
We call that the
or
lounge.
The lounge,
Yeah.
where you've got chess and you've got games and that kind of stuff in there. And then you've got a lovely seating area outside with the patio. So it seems like you got plenty of spaces for people to kind of, you might come here, there might be 100 people here, but it really feels kind of intimate in
You
here.
can find your spot.
Yeah, you can find a space. Yeah, it's a little something for everybody.
Awesome. So you can tell our listeners, anything you wanted to tell them before we wrap up here about Koi Pond Brewing. What would you tell them?
It's family.
Yeah, it's a family place with a wide variety of really good craft beer where you can come and bring your friends or meet new friends, and bring your family, bring your pets, and just hang out and relax for a day and enjoy, something local with local folks.
Leave your worries behind.
There you go, folks. We'll wrap it up there. As Josh says, leave your worries behind.
it.
Next time you're rolling down I-95 in North Carolina, because you are this summer, going from here to there, pull off, man, Rocky Mount, come down to Koi Pond Brewing, meet these guys, try their beers, relax, have a good time. Till next time, this is Rick Carter with Josh and Eric, Koi Pond Brewing, Rocky Mount, North
Look
Carolina.
forward to seeing you.
CNF Worldwide for nomads everywhere.
This broadcast was produced by CNF Limited for nomads everywhere. The contents of this broadcast are the property of CNF Limited. All rights are reserved. For more information about CNF publications, contact us at 305-707-4024. Find us on the web at cnfltd.com.